Hey everyone, how's it going? I am out here in the back garden under the gazebo, as you can see, and this is looking pretty tilled up. Reason for that is wife and I decided to rent a sod cutter from Home Depot to loosen all of this up, and it will set a good depth that I can just scoop it out with a shovel and put it wherever I need. And we're doing that for the entire pathway that goes to the gazebo, because we're going to be putting that flagstone in this area, and I need it to be dug out enough that it doesn't sit proud and the rain doesn't wash out what we do with the rock and the sand. So over here, if you guys remember, get my thumb out of there. If you guys remember what I had talked about, having the dining set, that table right there, having that sit in this area, it's still kind of tall in the upper part. Now, right around here, I had previously dug that out, but I kind of need to make this equal to that. So I'm going to run the sod cutter through this as well. It'll set a good depth, loosen everything up, scoop it out with a shovel, be done. So I got to finish that up. So one of the things that I had to be careful about was this tree root right here that's exposed from this sycamore that you see next door. So I made a turnaround right here, and this is a low area anyway, so I don't need to necessarily worry about it being a problem. We can always build this section up higher to where it won't wash out anything, which is probably what we're going to do. Also, I did not cut so much here because it is also a low area. Before we got gutters, it kind of washed this area out a little. It does mound up slightly by the house, but that can be dug up with a shovel, no problem. So this high spot right here is mainly what I was concerned about. So as you can see, it does strip cut, and you can follow the line with the edge of the machine right here. That little thing just follows that line every time you make a pass. That way you don't overcut a strip if you're trying to make these nice and pretty. Now, because this area does not have any kind of root system, this is just basically going to come out as dirt, but it's going to be nice and flat and a decent depth that I can manipulate later. Unlike a tiller, where you can set a depth and it would till the soil up, it won't be nice and flat and easy to shovel out.
So he is just over there kind of trying to level it out a little bit. I'm going to back us up. So here under the gazebo, the entire area has been cleaned up and excavated. We have a big pile of sand over there. You've seen that in one of our videos. We've had that sand there for a while. But we'll put down a very, very light coat of sand and use the sand to help level the rocks as we put them down. And the plan is to fill the entire gazebo area here, a path from the gazebo to the back porch, and we even decided to go ahead and do a square area here that will connect. That way the seating area with the table and chairs can be on that end, and the cooker grill can sit here. So we're gonna have kind of an outdoor kitchen situation and porch and gazebo. I'm so excited to get it all done. It's gonna be pretty. Stay tuned.
Okay, so the sand is laid down in both places, and I use my level to kind of see where some low-lying spots was, and I also use it to kind of screen some of the high spots. So as far as it goes, it doesn't have to be compacted necessarily. The rocks will definitely do that. So we're going to put some gloves on, start picking up some of these rocks and start positioning them where we think they need to go, and then we'll fill in the cracks as we go. Well, that's about as much as we can do. It's starting to rain. Sky doesn't look very favorable to continue going, so we're gonna call it a day probably and pick back up tomorrow. But for the magic of editing, that'll be right now. Next day, like I said, April's right here, and we are going to pick back up where we left off. We had some storms blow through that were kind of tornadic. Nothing hit here, fortunately, so nothing got disturbed. So we are going to finish, well, I wouldn't say finish. We're going to pick back up where we left off right there and hopefully get a little bit further along. All right, let me give you a quick update as to where we are at. So, as you guys saw in the time lapse, we have all of the rock laid down for the pad of the gazebo. And over here, we have all the rock laid out for the pad for the dining room table and chairs. Dining table and chairs. Now, we still have the pathway here, and April decided, and mainly it's out of necessity because we don't have enough rock, is to make a pathway that is a little more spread out, that will have more gravel to rock ratio than the gazebo and this pad over here. So what we had to do for this particular method is we place the rock down on a sand bed that we will fill in with some sand in the grooves about halfway up, and then we'll put gravel in. The reason why we're doing it this way is because we are in a suburban area. We can't put anything permanent down on the ground, because if the city for any reason needs to get underneath our structure, they'll have to tear it up, and it would be a lot easier to tear up something that's semi-permanent versus something permanent. So these rocks are a little irregular. They're a little they may move a little bit here and there. We can't secure them in place with normal concrete or that hardening sand for that simple reason. So that is where we are at. So now we have to place some rock down here before we lay in any more gravel. All right, everyone, don't mind my hair. I'm tired. I know April's tired. We've done a lot of hard work and we lost pretty much all of our daylight, so we had to call it quits, but I think we're done. So let me show you where we're at. All right, there is the finished pathway. Now, I have some explaining to do about the pathway, so give me just a minute and I'll get to that. But there is our dining area pad that we made. And then all of the dirt that I took out from under the gazebo and this pathway that was piled up behind it is now spread out in the new flower bed that surrounds the gazebo and wraps around, widen that, there we go, kind of wraps around the pad right there and continues on towards the secret garden. So there's also a flower bed behind right here that is now extended over into the existing flower bed. And if you guys remember the border lines that I showed you in the prior video, you can kind of gauge what it's going to look like now. Okay, so what we decided to do was use the sand that we had left right over there and basically clean it out as much as we possibly could. There is still a little bit left that we can use for the pathways, to use it as kind of like a basin for the gravel. But April wanted to use as much as we could on this pathway in between all the rocks, just to kind of see how it performed. She's a little more optimistic than I am when it comes to that, because I know that this sand is going to basically dry like playground sand, and it won't stay, is what I'm worried about. And with the dogs coming in and out, they're going to compact it down and just kind of make a mess of it. So what we're going to do is just kind of see how it performs, use what we have, and if we feel the need to fill it in with the drainage gravel in between all the stones, then we are going to do that. There's just so much room between all these stones. I mean, you can kind of see there is a lot of space between, and having that much sand filled in is just, it's not going to stay put. So when we put the drainage rock in, that'll probably hold a lot better. However, in the gazebo, everything is nice and tight, so I don't think, unless there are big areas that we couldn't get nice tight fitting stones in, we may fill that in with some gravel, but otherwise the joints are staying pretty tight. Even over here, we'll probably have to do the same thing, that if the joints are a little bit too big and the sand just does not hold, then we'll fill that in too. But other than that, we're pretty tired, aren't we, babe?
I think tired was about 3 hours ago. We've passed that.
Yeah, I think we have. But we are super excited to get to use it for Memorial Day, because we've got we've got our best friend coming over with her daughter, and we're probably gonna let the kids swim while we barbecue a little bit and cook some steaks and enjoy the gazebo. So we're pretty stoked that we got done as much as we got done.
The lion's share of it's done, yes.
So we hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, tips, suggestions, drop them down below. Please subscribe to the channel. We have new videos every Saturday, so hope you guys can join us each week. And until then, we'll talk to you later.